Okay, first, here's the radio. Now the sun's in the way, so let me see if I can curb some of that sun with this towel. Well, yes and no. So, but there's the radio. That's the Yaesu. Yaesu. Hold on a minute. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't mean to throw it around. I was just trying to get some shade here, and I threw this on the seat real quick. So this is the Yaesu FT891. And this is where we are so far. I don't know if you guys can actually see that or not. I'm having a problem seeing it through the monitor. But it has its different bands. The buttons are here on the top, which I can see. And I can actually just touch them by doing this, so it's not a big deal. If I have to, I can always bend this down just a little bit more. But at that point, I have full control. So that's the HF unit. That's the, again, the FT891. That's connected to the Moto antenna that I will be showing you in a minute. This is the ICOM. This is a 23, IC23. That's a 2-meter rig. It's the 23H. And that's for 2-meter. Down there's the CB that I'm really not going to need anymore. That box, believe it or not, has some parts in it that I had actually designed many, many years ago, and I sent it to the design to Japan, and they had made me a bunch of boards, so I was able to actually start putting these together. Then they actually started putting them together for me. So that's the design, but that was one of the originals in there. So that's something. Someday if I take this down, I'll take it apart, I'll talk to you. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Now here's a couple of real El Cheapos. They're a QTY or a QYT 8900. They're like a 25 watt or 50 watt UHF VHF. However, they do ham bands, you know, as far as their 2-meter 440, but they also go a lot further. So these little radios, even though they're relatively cheap, they have a lot of features in them. So in a disaster, you know, a couple of these radios, one in the car, one at the house, or something like that, and you go to one of these odd frequencies that doesn't belong to anybody, you'd be able to talk back and forth, you know, a few miles, you know, a lot further than you would on a CB, let's put it that way. So, but they're there. But I've got something going on where I'm going to be using these for 2 different things, so that's why they're there. And then I have another one coming, and the other one that's coming will be underneath this one here. It's the ID 4100 by ICOM, and that's going to be a 2-meter 440, and that'll be hooked up. So I may have to rearrange some of these radios a little bit. And then up here I have the computer, which is tied in. This is the computer for the van. So it's you know, it's there. It's plugged in. It runs off of the battery, plus it runs off a power inverter, which is down underneath that tissue box. There's an 1800 watt inverter down there, and that's where that's kind of plugged into. So if I want to run off of the inverter, I can. If not, I can just run off the battery and keep it plugged into the cigarette lighter plug, which is just, there's a bank of 3 of them down underneath the tilt seat lever. So that's kind of that. So let's turn this off for a minute. There's no need for us to be listening to static. Okay. And hold on. When I moved the Garmin GPS up there, I did have it on the dash, but I said, you know what, for some reason it just wasn't hearing me. This van, it's a quiet van. However, sometimes the noise is just too much for the Garmin, and when it was down there, it was just picking up a lot of noise. Up here, it seems to be doing much better. So that's what that is. Then actually my dash cam. All right, hold on. I rearranged in here a little bit. What I did was I put most of the equipment back here. and I kept my clothing up there. So, but then I put these lights in, so when I'm back here I can turn these lights on. Now they're actually brighter than what they look right now. So those are there. Now let me, hold on a minute. Okay, so basically this was the problem I was having with I wanted to be able to screw this connector in without using the elbow, because I believe I told you about elbows, and I don't like them. So by adding this extension piece, I was able to get that up enough off the mount. If I want to lay it down, I can just unscrew this, loosen it, it'll lay down, then I tighten it, she'll stay down, and then I can bring it back up, tighten it, and it'll stay up. So that's basically how that works. Then the solar panel, which keeps the batteries, because there's more than one battery in this truck, you know. And I still have to do the lettering up there a little bit, but meanwhile, that's the antenna. So, and that's the mount. So that's where we're at with that. And then I ran the wire down underneath and up inside the wall all the way down to the front of the vehicle, and basically that's where we're at. I gotta tighten this up. I found the screw that was missing, and oh shit, I threw it in the hole. Well, you know what, it's not in anything. I'll tighten it up when I get around to it. So that's that, and then I'll give you another quick tour on the inside of the vent behind the driver. Okay, so anyway, in here, I've showed this a few times, I know, but there's the radios again. There's a mess. There's some candy down there. When it gets hot, it leaks and it gets everything sticky, but so on for that. And then the inverter is underneath the power, under there. I think it's an 1800 watt. What's it say? Can't see it from here. Anyway, at 18, I think it's 1800. Oh, my back just went. So anyway, so much for that. You've already seen the radios in the computer. And here's inside back here. Now what I had done here, and I've showed this before, first I have all my antenna, not my antenna, but my connectors that connects to all those radios to the computer. So if I have to do any programming or anything, I can do it right from here. Just plug it into the computer, plug it into the radio, and away I go. There's the town radio, police, fire, the medics, CMed, blah, 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 and some of the surrounding towns. There's the Wushan. That's my radio. It's a 16 channel. It has the same frequencies in it as that, with a few different ones, so that if we want to go simplex and be kind of off the normal frequencies, we can do that. So that's what that one's for. That's not digital. These are digital. They use the Motorola P25 on those. So that's kind of like a Motorola thing. And then there's I think it's a 700 watt power supply down there, or inverter, which is hooked up to a 12 volt timer. So every day at about noontime it kicks on for, I think it's 10 minutes, and when that kicks on, it turns that on. When that turns on, it charges that radio, and it'll also charge my body cam when it's sitting over there. So that's kind of sitting there, and that's kind of just where I'm going to start putting radios and things. And then back here I keep a lot of just necessary stuff under here. That's ammunition. This is for the guns when I go do a class. And this is all what I wear when I'm out doing what I got to do. Rain gear, more gear, rain gear, night gear, day gear, towels in case you get dried off, whatever. Sweatpants, well, not sweats, but you know, just workout pants. But they work great when you're out there and it's hot. And that's about it. So, and then over there, in that plastic bag that you can see, I can't bring it up anymore, otherwise you're going to see all kinds of information. All right, as it is, you can see the 203 reflecting onto that container below. But there's a plastic bag there that has a 13-foot extension in it. That extension would go on top of the coil on the roof on the Moto antenna, and the steel will come off. But that's only when you're stationary. You really can't drive with that on there. But if, for instance, if I found myself in a location to where I was going to be there for a few hours If I wanted to just screw that on, I could. If not, I can just do what I got to do. It's not a big deal. So that's basically how the van is set up. I got a sticker out here. So it's like that. This has all the fire maps and everything in there, and towns and everything we need to do what we got to do when we're out there. I have no idea what that is. I forgot what the hell I put in there. I'm sure you guys have done that as well. This camera's getting hot. Wow. Anyway, that's where we're at, guys. So I'm going to call it a day. And I gave you a tour of the antenna that I put on. And I gave you kind of an outlook on what's going on with the radios. And what I plan on doing. And someday if I fire it up and I remember I got the camera with me, I'll turn it on and you can hear me talk to somebody if you want. Like you really need to hear me talk more. Catch you later, guys.